Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me and thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me and watch this video. Today we will make this little notepad holder, which is really simple to make, yet I think it's just beautiful. So we will make that. To make this notepad cover, we will use mini writing tablets. The dimensions are 3.5 inches by 5 inches. And this pack is about 3/4 of an inch wide. It has 3 sections in it. We will use only 2 sections. And I chose to use different color. I'm gonna use this one. The dimension is about 1/2 inch. So 2 sections are about 1/2 inch wide. I will also use cherry box instead of chipboard or cardstock. We can recycle those, and actually any box you have, you can use it for this project. I will use paper from this collection, Magical Thinking. Now, I do have some leftover papers from previous project, so I will be using some of this, and I will need full-size sheet for the front. So this is the paper we will use to cover the notepad. And let's prepare our chipboard or cardstock. So I will just take this apart. Just like that. Okay. Now to use this, we will need to cut this a little bit further. So because we need nice straight cut, I will just cut this, and let me cut this. Okay, and I will just take that apart. Okay, so we have these edges which are really nice and straight. So, no, actually I'm going to take off these flaps. Okay. So now, to make sure that everything is straight, this is the side that I cut it with the ruler, so I know this one is straight. So now I am gonna just trim at least on one side. I want this angle to be nice and straight. And now I will cut this to 5.5 inches. And we will do the same thing to this one. I do want to make sure that all sides are nice and straight. So here is the correct side, straight side, and we will cut this also to 5.5. So now we have two pieces, 5.5, and we will need to cut this to 3 3/4, and we need 4 pieces. So we got 2. This is the straight side. 3 3/4, and one more 3 3/4. So we got 4 of those, and now we will need 2 pieces, and I will trim this a little bit. Okay, we're gonna need 2 pieces 1/2 inch wide. So we got 1 and 2, and this will be our spine. So now we will glue these pieces together. So basically we want to double up the thickness, and we just position like that. Let's glue both sides together. And now you might say, why I keep the color side on the outside? It's just that because I want this to really hold really well and stick together. So I'm gonna do the same thing with this side, and we will also glue it together just like that. Now this is really nice and thick now, so this will be our front and the back, and we need to do the same thing with the spine. So we will glue those 2 pieces together. Just like that. If it's not perfect, don't worry about it. It will be fine. Okay, so front, spine, back. We got that piece done. Now I mentioned to you that I will use this paper for the cover. So I just want to make sure that I got my dimensions right. So this is 5 1/4 by 3 3/4. So we will cut the paper to 6 1/4. And I know that this piece is a little bit too long, but that's okay. We will trim it to size later on. So now we got our front of the cover, spine, and back of the cover, and this is how we're gonna glue it. Just like that. Let's make sure we squish the glue and distribute all the way around. Okay, now we will glue the spine, and we're going to position approximately 1/8 of an inch away from the front. and the back. Another approximately 1/8 of an inch spacing in between the spine and this piece. Okay, let's distribute this glue. All right, and now we will just trim off excess of this paper. So now we will score all around. And I will score right here. So this helps this to bend. Now I will run the spatula against the edges. This will create this really nice crisp look. All right. And now we need to miter the corners. So I'm making a small angle, leaving a little bit of that paper right here to make sure that we can cover all of the corners really nicely. And we do this on all 4 sides. All right, so now we can glue it. Let's make sure this is all stuck. Okay, and now the top and the bottom. Okay, just make sure that everything adheres well. And the same thing on this side. Now, as you can see, you don't really need to have a chipboard to make this. You can just use any box you have. From Cheerio, maybe crackers, cookies. It doesn't really matter. Just double up on the thickness. So now I'm running the spatula right in between, right here, just to stretch this top paper. So when we fold it, it folds really nicely. And now you can see what a beautiful crisp edges you have. And I don't like this corner, so I am gonna just run the spatula to kind of soften this up a little bit, because it looks like it's just a little bit too sharp. Okay. And this is our cover. So I have paper left. So as you can see, I'm trying to use up some of the scraps I have. So I'm going to use this to cover the spacing in between the spine. So I'm going to pre-cut this. To 4 3/4. Okay, that's gonna fit perfect, but I don't like to apply it this way because when you glue it, it seems every time I try this, it buckles on the middle. I could use double-sided tape right here so this sticks, but I don't like to put double-sided tape. It seems to me the double-sided tape dries out and eventually it's gonna let the paper go and you still might get that buckle later on. So that's why I don't do it. I don't like to do that. So I am just gonna cut this piece that I have just in half approximately. And I will apply it the way I usually do. So I'm just gonna put the adhesive approximately on the middle of the spine. Try to keep similar distance from the top to the bottom. See, I noticed that when I do that, it gives a little bit more flexibility for this paper and it's easier to score it, and the top of the spine doesn't buckle on me. So this is the reason why I do it that way. Okay, and I'm gonna position next one just next to it. You don't really have to leave any space in between. Normally I like to, but this spine is so thin, I'm not gonna do that. So now, as you can see, as I'm creasing this, I don't have buckle anywhere. It's really nice and crisp score right here. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. And it's trying to lift off, it didn't adhere well yet, but that's okay, it will. Okay, so it doesn't want to adhere. I'm gonna put additional glue. I do want to make sure that this is all nicely stuck. Okay, that should be okay. And you can see nothing buckles on either side. You got very nice spine, but this is not end result. So to cover the inside, I chose to use the leftover papers I have. These are from the same collection, so they actually match the pink flowers. So we will cut this to size, and I like to double measure, triple measure. 5 1/4, 3 3/4. So we need this piece to be 5 inches by 3 1/2. So that will cover this side. Now I am gonna cut additional piece that will measure approximately just a smidge less than 1/2 inch, because 1/2 inch is our spine. So you don't want to have exactly 1/2 inch, but a little bit less, just to accommodate for those scores. So that's going to be this piece, and we need one more. And for this one, it really doesn't matter what the dimension is. I'm gonna do it 2 inches. And the reason for it is when we position our pieces just like that, we are getting that nice book effect. But when you apply your pad, you won't be able to see this piece anyway. So I'm applying only because you want to see continuation of this inside cover all the way to this side, because when we glue this, you can see it, that you're going to be able to see a little bit from underneath, and I don't want to create this type of effect, although you could, and actually I am going to keep it the way it is. Change my mind, we can change our design as we go. So let's apply the glue. Approximately 1/8 of an inch border on all 3 sides. And let's make sure this is stuck. All right, and now we will apply this onto the spine, just like that. Try to position straight with the top and the bottom. Okay, so as you can see, we got everything covered, and we will glue this just like that in here. I will not make this removable, although you could. And actually, you know, just for the video purposes, I will make this removable. So I am using leftover piece, the same piece I have in here. So I will just fold this over on this side. I will pull it just a little bit to make, and this is like maybe 1/16 of an inch. Just make sure that your top is nice and straight. I will fold over this one right here. And now I can apply the glue. Don't go too close to the edges. You don't want to glue that notepad if you do want to make it removable. So now I will try to position this right on the middle, just like that. So now, as you can see, we have plenty of room to kind of move this around. And as you can see, it's very easy to slip this in, and you have a removable notepad. So we are not done. Let me remove this. So I want to decorate the front of this notepad, and I don't have any leftover. I never used this particular page, but I thought maybe butterflies to cover this would go nice. It will match our cover. So we will pre-cut this. Now, I always try to measure those notepads because they are not always exact dimension. This one actually is 3.5 inches. So I will pre-cut this paper, and I will cut 2. Here is 3.5. I will move it just about 1/16, just a tiny bit, because I want to make sure that I will cover that front. So now the notepad is 5 inches. So I will just cut this to about 8. You need to make sure for this piece that it is long enough to cover the front, cover the top, and you need to glue a little bit on the back. So now this, I will make this as a cover, just like that. But I will not glue it to the front. I will apply glue right here to the top. I will fold this over. And let's make sure that this sticks just like that. And now I can fold over and glue the back. Okay. All right. So now, if you turn this around and you see that you have a little bit sticking out on the back, just take the knife and run it across to make this straight, just like that. And this side is perfectly fine. Now you have this beautiful finish. I can see over here on the top a little bit. So I just trim it. Here is our cover. And as you can see, we don't have any problem putting this in. Now I could glue this to the front page, but I don't want to see marks on the back of this. This is the reason why I'm not gluing to the first page. And now on this side, we will make just a little pocket, just the way we did it in here, and then we will decorate the top. So for the pocket, I will use also this paper. So let's measure 3.5. What I'm measuring is actually this paper. I want to cover this. And you know, we have this piece left, and that's a little bit more than 3.5. I will just trim a tiny bit. Now, before I do anything else, let me try. And I like it because I am covering the entire piece. So it really depends how tall you want to make this. I am gonna make approximately 3 inches tall. So 3.5 by 3 inches. And I do want to create a little angle. I think this is just a little bit nicer look. So here it is. That's how it's going to be positioned, and I will make a little angle right here. There is no, I'm not using any particular dimensions for that. You can make it angle however you want. I'm gonna keep approximately 1 inch from the beginning of the paper, right here and right here. So this is where I'm gonna cut. Just like that. And actually, I will cut off another approximately 1/8 of an inch. I want to make everything kind of matching. So You really don't have to do this, but I will. So what I'm thinking is I will glue this to leftover piece that I have, and I do want to show you that you do have different options to decorate. So I'm gonna glue this just like that, and I'm not trying to create the pocket in between those two papers. So now I will trim this side to the dimension of whatever I have in here. Now for the top, I will leave little border just like that. I'm trying to create a look. So now I'm gonna trim it also on this side, and I am creating this little border that is actually matching the paper I have right here. And you see, this is not just such a plain look. This one was a little bit more plain, but I had decoration on the back. So now for this piece, I am gonna apply the glue only on 3 sides, just a tiny bit of glue on this side and a little bit in here. So here, here, and here. We're gonna apply the glue. We're gonna position just like that. I wanna cover all of that. This is really not pink. This is almost like a, I don't know, peach color. So here is beautiful packet. As you can see, we can put anything on the inside. And I do want to decorate this. So originally I thought that I'm gonna use something from here, and I think I will, but I really don't have to, because the leftover papers I have, they are very similar to this. So I might want to keep this as a whole sheet and just use the little leftover pieces that I have. And I don't want to make this too wide, just a little decoration to wrap the whole look. So this one I cut to 3.5 plus 1/16. So I will do the same thing to this piece, 3.5 and 1/16. And on this side, I'm gonna cut down to approximately 1 inch. And let's see. So there is no right or way wrong to do this, whichever way you like it. Do you want this wider piece right here, or maybe the narrow piece? It's totally up to you. I'm gonna choose the wider one, the 1 inch one. I think that's a 1 inch. And I will just position just like that, just as a decoration. And this is pretty much how I match my colors. I try to use colors that are coming from the same pack. If not, then I'm trying to match the color to any design I have on my paper. And this is really nice and easy way to use up a lot of your scraps and yet end up with beautiful, beautiful piece like this. So I hope I hope you like this video. I hope you enjoyed that. I think this came really cute and adorable. Please let me know what you think about this project. If you like that, please hit like, comment, share and subscribe. All of this really helps my channel grow. And all of you have been so good to me. I really appreciate. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you in my next video.